Okay, I'd like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustee meeting for July 17, 2017 at 6:04. Let's rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dan Gaffney. Here. Michelle Gann. Here. Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Hemberg.
Here.
Allison McFadden Kiesling.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Ann Rose.
Here.
Julie Meredith here.
Thank you. I'll accept the motion to approve the agenda. I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the agenda as presented. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call to the public.
I have no report from the Friends since we did not meet in July.
Very good.
Da-da-da.
So things will happen again in August, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Coming up.
Thank you. Is there any other comments from the public? If not, we'll close the call. Consent agenda. We have a relatively long consent agenda. I'll accept a motion.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda as presented. No one wants to check on any individual item. If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Library statistics. The colorful sheet.
Present Mr. Bowman.
I do not.
Okay, very good. I think the thing he wants to talk about is my director's report. I stole it.
Truth.
It must be summer.
Yeah.
Lots more.
It is much busier. June, July, and August are our busiest months
Yeah.
of the year.
Good.
Yeah, so that's what we'd like to see.
Yep.
All right. The library director's report.
For building and grounds, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the parking lot anymore. However, this is good news. We received the billing statement from Asphalt Specialists, Inc., and I am pleased to announce that the project came in well under budget. It's too early to provide exact final numbers, but the project budget was set at $123,129.10, and the invoice for the bulk of the work on the consent agenda for approval this evening is $87,496.33. The only remaining cost that will be invoiced is the installation of the sod in the southwest corner of the parking lot. So we should have some wiggle room in the budget. Project updates. The implementation of the library's point of sale system is well underway. The circulation department has begun accepting payments via credit card and is working to carefully document all of the procedures. The IT department has made the necessary upgrades to the website to allow for payment online and has successfully completed the initial testing. We anticipate that feature coming online very soon. Next item, the replacement of the laminate at the circulation desk was completed last week, as well as the installation of 2 mounted iPads that will allow the patrons to easily sign up to receive the library's electronic newsletters while they check out their materials. That's something we've been wanting to do.
Yeah. Good.
And then the piece that Bill wanted to share that I stole. The library's summer reading kickoff event that took place from 6 to 8 p.m. on June 19th boasted a door count of over 900.
Oh, yeah.
While some of that traffic may have included some patrons going in and out while they enjoyed the event, we estimate an attendance of over 500 people. The event included the opportunity to sign up for the many summer reading activities, popcorn, and an aquatic petting zoo. You could have come and pet the
Got a
shark.
shark.
That is amazing. It was very cool.
It's very cool.
Okay, collaborations. The community-wide well-being campaign called Clarkston for Life held the first of 2 book discussion groups at the library. 26 people attended an interesting and lively discussion about the happiness advantage on June 28th. The next book discussion will be The Resilience Factor on Thursday, August 17th at 7 p.m. Copies of these titles are available at the library through our downloadable service Overdrive and on the library's Kindles that are available for checkout. The campaign is just starting to unfold, so you can learn more by visiting the campaign's Facebook page at facebook.com/Clarkston for Life.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments? Anyone pet the sharks?
That sounds like a very cool event.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I'm excited so many people are coming. Yeah, so it's great.
And the horseshoe pit.
All right. All right, on to regular business. Number 1, audit presentation.
Dustin Schuling of Abraham and Gaffney will present the report on the library's 2016 audit. Please note that Library Board Treasurer Janice Gaffney is not related directly or by marriage to anyone in the Abraham and Gaffney firm. We have to have this conversation every single time.
Every year.
Not related.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. You know, I reached out to some of you during the audit and asking some questions. Overall, everything went really well this year, and I'm just going to run through a few things here, and I'll spend a lot of time on it. I think it's exciting, and I think I'm a lot of fun, but my wife informs me otherwise. So I will keep it short. So everybody should have a handout. So on the first page of your handout is an independent auditor's report. Everybody got that? Okay. So this report right here basically just runs through management's responsibility, which basically just says, you know, these are your financial statements. And then it also goes through our responsibility as the auditor, which ours is to express an opinion on your financial statements. At the very bottom of the page is our opinion, and you've got an unmodified opinion, which is the best you can get. If you flip the page, yeah, nothing new going on here. Usually there's some new Gatsby statements, but you guys are luckily avoiding some of them. Page 3. This is your fund balance sheet and statement of net position. So it's really just a snapshot of the library's position as of December 31st, 2016. And I want to look at just the general fund. So I've highlighted a couple things on here. The first one is this total fund balance of just under $1.3 million. And right above that is an unassigned balance of $1.236. That right there is your unassigned that's available for discretionary and operational use. So available to cover basically your operating expenditures, our everyday things. We like to look at that number as a percentage of your total expenses for the year. And that is actually 62% of your total annual expenditures. So it's very good. That's approximately 7.5 months. So you have enough reserve right there to cover 7.5 months of normal operating activity. So it's very good. It's well above the recommended amount, so good job. The next page, I highlighted way too much on this, and I'm going to skip a bunch of it. So basically I changed my mind once I highlighted these. The format just isn't what most people are familiar with. This is the Gatsby 34 format, and it's modified accrual. But if you switch to the next page, it'll cover a lot of the same items that I highlighted, just in a neater fashion. So,
This is the budgetary
yep, budgetary comparison schedule. Yep. So this basically shows how your fund balance changed during the year, like what happened. So the first thing I wanted to look at is your total revenues, which were just under $2 million this year. And it actually increased by about $81,000 over the prior year. And that's a change of about 4%. So it's going the right way, not a lot, but it's the right direction. Most of this was due to an increase in property taxes. So it's not really under the library's direct control, but it helps. The next thing I want to look at is total expenditures. And that was, again, just under $2 million. It actually went up last year by about $254,000. And that was a change of just under 15%. And the main cause of this increase was personnel costs. And we saw a jump this year compared to the prior year. Next thing I want to look at is the special item, which is this transfer from the township. And the special item, it's just a significant transaction within management's control, and it's either unusual in nature or infrequent in occurrence. So you should not see this every year. It's exciting that it happened this year. But I think most of you probably know what that is.
Yes.
It's the retiree health funding vehicle. So what I do want to point out there, though, is that was 767, basically that was your change in fund balance this year. If you actually look at your revenues minus your expenditures, you have a difference of about $3,000. That's what increased your fund balance this year, this big transfer from the township. So, the other thing this year that usually doesn't happen every year is a prior period adjustment. It's just under the change in fund balance. I didn't highlight it, but that there, it's just a prior period adjustment because it was a reimbursement to the township for a prior year millage. So, we go to the next page, and this is why I brought up the change between revenues and expenses. If you actually look at revenues, we've included special items in this bar graph. So you can see it's a hefty jump from the prior year, but that is with that transfer from the township. Fund balance, you'll see that also increased significantly from the prior year, but again, it's the transfer. So, obviously, it's great that you got it. It's a great addition. So don't count on that every year. If you flip the page, this is just a high-level look at your revenue. And on this one, we've excluded the special item just to give you a better idea, what normal circumstances look like for the library. But you can see here that 93% of revenue is property taxes. It's the big one. That's common for most libraries. Go to the next page. Again, this is just a high-level look at your expenditures for the year. The ones that I'd like to actually just look at a little bit are, we break them out on here for salaries, payroll taxes, and fringe benefits. But really, that's your personnel cost.
Right.
And that is 62% of your expenditures.
Similar to education.
Yes. And I just did another library presentation, and theirs was very similar, so it's not alarming. It's pretty average. So, but other than that, the audit went great. We want to thank Julie and Debbie for all their help while we were out here. Do you guys have any questions?
No, since we're a relatively young entity, we wanted to make sure that we had good advice relating to our financial and legal areas to make sure we're dotting the i's and crossing the t's and doing everything in the appropriate manner. So we appreciate your attention to detail as we work through these new beginnings.
We enjoy it. This is what we do. So if you have any questions during the year too, feel free to contact us.
Very clear presentation.
Yes, very good.
It's interesting.
And it's always easier when it's an unmodified opinion.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to go through all of that, this is what you should be doing. It's nice to know that we're getting it right.
Thanks to everyone doing their job.
Yes.
If you have any questions on the audit or anything during the year, feel free to contact us.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Very funny.
Yeah. That's fine.
Tell your wife.
I'll tell my wife, thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
I will accept a motion to approve the audit as presented.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the audit as presented. Any other questions that we did not ask our auditor? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, let's review and approve the updated credit debit card acceptance policy.
The library circulation department has been documenting the procedures that have been developed in support of the library's new point-of-sale system. After reviewing these procedures with the library's accountant, it was suggested that we update the credit debit card acceptance policy to reflect the practice that the library staff does not handle patron credit cards. We have put this in place procedurally, but by documenting it in the policy, the auditor will know that it is also a board-driven policy. Do you have anything to add?
The only thing, there's one, if a patron is not physically capable of using the credit card terminal, that's the only time one of the circulation staff will assist at all.
That's a safety procedure, I mean, I think that's a protection.
It's
procedure.
meant to protect my circulation staff and the patron. You know, we have a lot of protections in place to protect identity and that sort of thing, and privacy. This is just another step in that.
It lowers our financial liability when we started offering credit card payment. The fact that we won't touch the cards puts us in a different category in terms of.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, because it removes an opportunity for theft.
Right.
Whenever there's cash, there's always
A possibility.
the possibility that not that we think that would ever happen, but the possibility exists at that point, where if nobody's touching the card, then that possibility goes away.
So did we review other other library credit card policies and?
The policy is actually based on several from other libraries. This is you've approved the policy already, just the highlighted line is all we're changing. That says.
And that one wasn't in many of the other ones.
Yeah.
Any
But
of
our
the ones that we
accountant said
tested, that we checked against.
Our count said if that's what you're doing, then you need to write it down so that the auditor knows it's what you're doing. So
That's what we, that's what we,
That seems like a good
it's
idea.
partly what we pay our accountant to do.
That's right.
Most people are perfectly happy not to give their card over and to do it themselves, but there are always those people who find that technology difficult.
But I'm sure they'll walk them through it.
Yeah.
The wording I'm questioning, maybe it's just my brain, but,
B.
yeah, no, unless the patron is physically unable to use payment device, library staff members will not handle oh, I got it. I heard it.
Okay. Once you read it out loud?
Yeah, I did. It didn't, I was still saying that they wouldn't handle it, but only in those circumstances.
Correct.
That's great.
So credit payment cards will not be accepted by telephone, mail, or email.
That was in the
Correct.
previous.
Also,
That was also in there before.
So they have to physically be here.
Or the online, because they, you know, we do, like you said in the director's report, that there is an online method now as well that has gone live.
That's wise too.
But that also has security things that are in
Correct.
place that doing it over the
That's not,
phone.
and that's not hosted by us, that's hosted by our credit card vendor, so they handle the security portion of that as well.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the credit debit card acceptance policy as presented. Second.
So we have a second right here. Second. Now we have a third. We're all set here. Really right. We're really going to approve it. All right, if there are no questions or comments, all those in favor of approving this additional line, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. That was very clear. Next one.
Okay. Review and approval of the updated print, scan, copy, and fax policy. After purchasing the new document scan station approved by the library board in May, we will be returning the outsourced fax station that we've been using to provide fax services to the public. Since this service was outsourced, the library did not have a policy or pricing structure for public fax. The print, scan, and copy policy has been updated to now include a policy and pricing for fax service and is being presented for the board for approval.
Here it is.
So really, the only thing that's different is that last paragraph that says faxing.
There was no scanning policy either.
No, there wasn't a scanning. Oh,
Although we
okay.
didn't have a scanning policy before either.
Okay, I stand corrected. Scanning and faxing. Sorry about that.
And there's no charge for scanning.
No.
I like the sentence that says printing charge applies even if you supply your own paper. Do you get a lot of questions on that?
Yes.
I
People want to print on cardstock, or they want to print on, you know, something that we don't use, and just,
Right.
you know, nicer paper or pre-printed
Letterheads,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, you know. It still costs us toner.
The biggest cost is in the toner.
As always.
Machine, not actually in the paper.
Yes, in the toner.
Yes, and the toner is expensive.
Yes.
So All right, any other questions? You always go over these things carefully, so we don't really have many additional questions to ask. All right, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we approve the updated print, scan, copy, and fax policy as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept this policy. Any commentary? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to need a new book to keep all our policies in. We're doing
Yeah.
very well at.
We have a special drive. They're electronic.
Very good.
Scan them to PDF, we make them PDFs and they're online with the staff.
I mean, one of our goals was to review every policy. And
And
we're
right ones
getting
we
there.
haven't written.
Some of them just keep reappearing because we keep tweaking them, so. Circulation likes to tweak their policies.
Ah,
It's a living document.
Mhm.
It is a living document, it is.
all right, let's look at approval of 2000, speaking of time flying by, let's look at the approval of the 2018 library closure dates.
You know, we're doing this a little bit early. We usually do this in August, but we're doing it in July this year because the library staff is already putting things in the calendar. So I didn't want to put any closures on our official online calendar without board approval. So each year, the library board is asked to review and approve the library's closed date calendar. Traditionally, we do this in late summer to help staff begin planning programming for the new year and to allow the dates to be added to the computer system well before the beginning of the year, since library materials are not due and fines do not accrue on days the library is closed. So I'm presenting the 2018 library closure dates. Please note that this closure calendar does not include a proposed date for the annual staff training day. We are currently discussing a shared training day with some neighboring libraries and will bring a closure request to the board when a date has been selected.
It does take time to coordinate.
It does take time to coordinate. So
And
this
last
is-
year, didn't we have a storm, didn't we have,
That's this year. We haven't, yeah, it
This
was
year
in
we-
April. We had a freak storm that blew the power and we are having instead of having our closure in April, we're having a closure in September.
right.
But the closure dates, this is the same calendar that we basically do every year. There's no strange anomalies or oddities, just the standard holidays that we recognized when we were part of the township, and then again as the library. So.
Okay. Anybody see any unusual
No, that's great.
surprises?
No?
Next year, July 4th will be on Wednesday. That'll be a challenge, won't it?
Yeah.
The school is actually starting before Labor Day.
Yes.
Get out early.
What's that?
School started before Labor Day this year.
Oh, really?
It's interesting.
So our
Things go back and forth in education.
Yes, they do.
and they're letting out a week earlier as well, because usually we're closed. Like this year we're closed from I think June 19th through Labor Day on Sunday, summer Sundays, and for 2018 it'll be June 10th.
But I like that. That was the change we made to accommodate end-of-the-year projects for
Yep.
students. You know, because we used to close on Memorial Day,
Yep.
after Memorial Day. I like this better.
Yeah, the schools, the teachers like this better too. The schools like
So they have a chance to get that last. Us
And I think a
little-
lot of them take advantage of the library being open during that time.
Right.
Okay, well, Bill, talk about how busy that we are during finals week, right?
Oh, yes, the busyness during final week is impressive. We actually open up the meeting rooms for students to actually work in during those weeks because the tables are full. Yeah, it's so busy those weeks.
So I think that was an excellent change to our policy. Because I came by the time, I said, we're still open. Then I remembered, school's not out yet. Okay. I'll accept a motion on the 2018 calendar closure dates.
I move to approve the 2018 closed date calendar as presented.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2018 closure dates. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. All right, number 5.
As the library board is aware, the library's department heads have been working on developing an employee review plan. While the library board is responsible for policy and an evaluation system is procedural in nature, we are providing a draft of the system to the board as an opportunity to provide feedback. The department heads plan to present the system to the staff at the all-staff meeting in August and perform evaluations from September until the end of the year. Fall has been selected as the annual performance review timing. In tandem with the development of the employee review plan, the library director and the library board president have been developing a library director review plan. This has been done using examples from other libraries and coordinating it with the employee review plan already in development. Since the library director is an employee of the library board will receive the draft of the library director performance review plan for consideration and approval at the library board meeting in August. So we're presenting you with the employee one first, you can take a look at it, and then when we bring you the library director one to approve next month, you'll see how it matches and how it kind of coordinates. So the first thing we did was we created a performance plan that kind of explains the timeline and the tips to the reviewers of how they should execute it. There's a review checklist so that they kind of know which different skill sets fall under which categories. We have a general position assessment, communication and interpersonal skills, customer service and professionalism, organization and productivity, and leadership and teamwork. The employees will fill out a self-review first, and they will turn that into their supervisor. At the same time, the supervisor will fill an employee performance review form following that checklist. And then they will sit down and actually have a meeting, looking at both of those documents, which is the performance review discussion sheet, which is the last piece. And they'll fill that out together, including selecting 3 goals for the coming year. They'll make any notes about the discussion, and then the employee can have, if they choose, up to 3 days to write their own comments in if they have anything that they don't necessarily agree with in the review. And then the verification of the review by signing the form, both parties confirm that you have discussed the review in detail. Does not necessarily indicate that you agree with this evaluation. So then it's the employee signature, the supervisor's signature. All of those pieces are copied. A copy is given to the employee. The originals are given to the administrative assistant who files them in the employee's files, which is a lot in cabinet.
And what, is there something new this year with the whole way it's done?
We have not had an employee review system up until this point. So this is, the whole thing
it's
is
all
new.
new.
It's all, we've been designing it. We've spent the
I
last
like the
several
employee
months.
self-review part of it. I think that's going to...
We've looked at a lot of systems, and the department heads feel very strongly that this is, and I talked to Meryl about this as well, and I think she agreed as well, that this is really a chance for the employees and the supervisors to sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
That you should be talking throughout the year. This is not intended to be a disciplinary time, that if there's a disciplinary issue, it should be handled in the moment, and we even put right in the tips that if whatever the disciplinary issue has been dealt with, you don't necessarily even have to put it in the annual review unless you want to comment on the fact that it has been corrected or has been addressed or that person is working on it. But if this is not a disciplinary thing, and it's also not tied to pay scale. So.
And I think it's good that it's the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody sees it and knows what it is. And,
Yep.
Yep.
And it's not too lengthy.
Right.
Because the longer they are, the more stressful it is for both the employee and the supervisor.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it covers all the key areas, but it doesn't go on and on and on in excruciating detail like some I've seen.
I like the fact that it gives the employee in the self-review a chance to highlight their accomplishments. Say, I attended this, I went to that, this is how I used it, that kind of thing.
And to
So,
think about what they might
yes.
want in the future and change. And, I don't know.
Well, it also gives them a chance to document the thing that they thought was, that they did a really good job on, that their supervisor, in a busy year may not remember, something that they did in January or February, and you get to September, and something that somebody was really proud of may have gotten forgotten by then. So it's an opportunity to say, don't forget I did this really amazing thing back in February.
I hope it's successful because it looks like a really good way to do it.
We tried to take the best from several different systems, and one of the things that we did see in one system that we really liked is that our goal is to really focus on making sure the employees understand our goal is for everybody to meet expectations. We don't want to get to a point where we're woohooing so much that, because we do have such a great staff, that there isn't any place to really recognize something that's
Truly outstanding.
truly outstanding. So, we're trying to exceeds expectations, for something truly special. You may feel that way about everything that they do, but at the same time, it's kind of like back in the days when they had 10s for ice skating. You didn't give that 10 because you had to hold back a little bit because you might get somebody later on. I think this is the same kind of thing. We want to make sure everybody understands our goal is for everybody to meet expectations, and when you exceed expectations, we want that to feel special. So that was one of the things that we also talked about.
We have high expectations because we have a good staff.
Because we have a great staff, we have a really amazing staff. But this is an opportunity, the department heads are looking at it, not only as us to give feedback to the employees, but for them to give feedback to us, the little inkling things that happen sometimes that we need to correct, but if nobody speaks up about it, they don't get fixed, because we can't fix what we don't know about, so.
Have you and your staff consider these things living documents? Is this something that you're going to be using throughout the year, or something you're going to do once and put away?
The whole intention is to, I guess the answer is yes. Yes, it's something that we would do once a year, but no, the goals are the thing that they would work on. And then the next year when you pull the document back out to see if they've met those goals. That's why they get a copy of it, because the whole point is that the goals will be that living, breathing piece of it. And that the hope is the next year when we do the evaluations, and we might adjust the documents next year to help reflect, did you meet your goals? We don't really have that in here yet, but we weren't quite sure until you try it once. Sometimes you don't know what exact wording to put in, but.
And because we're young and we didn't have all our staff, so once we had funding to increase our staff, there's no sense in evaluating someone unless they have enough of a body of work to evaluate. And we've still been adding new people. So up until this point, but I had discussed with Julie last year, I thought we were now at the point where everybody had enough of a body of work that the staff could start to address this, because we don't want to be a group that does not self-evaluate. That probably refers to us also. But so when we get the employee, this is the employee piece, then the director piece, which is going to involve us, the board, and then we'll look at a board piece.
I've been involved in where a board evaluates itself.
Yes.
I think that's a very helpful thing, because we look at, and the boards that I've been on that have done that, we look at our own individual contributions, but then how everyone can work better together. I think we work very well together, but it's a good idea to have something in place,
Right.
so that we're thinking consciously about that instead of just kind of.
And as Dan points, not a one and done, but a process.
Yeah, and I say that because I went through numerous reviews at GM that meant nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And if you've got suggestions of how we can make it a more living document, we're open to feedback. I mean, we just kind of put
Well,
this
that's the
together.
first thing that I recognized, was that this has a chance to be more relevant to both the department head and the employee.
I think so.
Much more so than what I endured.
And education is rife with these continual assessments of teachers and so forth. And there are some things one has control over and some things that we don't. Luckily here, our staff has a great deal of control over how they can make the library a vibrant, useful tool.
Right.
And so I think it's, when you have control over what you can do, then an evaluation makes even more sense.
Right.
Yes. All right, thank you. I really appreciate the work that the staff has done to review this. And like the other policies, healthcare and so forth, I think the board feels that the more involved the staff is in the creation of the tools that we use, the better our results will be. So we thank the staff for evaluating, you hate to reinvent the wheel. So we're pleased that you evaluated and found areas that seem apropos.
It's been quite a process, hasn't it? We've been working on this for months,
Many months.
many months, yeah.
Some
And that's-
meetings, some meetings where we get like 8 words.
Yeah, it felt like, yeah, some
It felt
more
like it, but
productive than
no, we
others.
get like an entire page
Yes.
throughout like a 2 or 3 hour meeting.
And since this is the first, I'm sure there'll be some tweaking after.
The goal after we get it moving, Bill has been working on the possibility of it being an online electronic thing, which would streamline it and make it easy. You know, people could type it in really quickly and that kind of thing. But we decided to do the first one on paper so that we didn't spend all the time creating the technology piece of it, only to discover that it needed tweaking and then have to redo all of that. So this one will be paper. We're hoping there's a possibility that may be filled out, because it'll be easier to read if it's all typed up as
Yeah.
opposed to everybody's handwriting.
Some of us don't have really good handwriting. Myself
Vanishing
included.
cursive.
Yes, exactly, so.
Well, we thank you, and this is the review. If any, as the board reads this, if you have any questions, please
Yes, please feel
address.
free to email me, tell me if you have any extra ideas, things that we should integrate into it.
And you'll start this in September, did you
We're
say?
going to, September, our basic plan is to roll it out to the employees in August at the staff meeting, our staff meeting, show them what it's all about, and then begin that process between September and December.
And we have some employees that are brand new. Will they have to have been here a certain
We're just
amount?
going to do the whole thing, because we
Just do
feel the whole thing is a sit-down discussion. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're just going to start with even the ones that are brand new. It's an opportunity to sit down. They might as well at least try out the process and see.
Well, because the goal setting is still very pertinent,
Yeah.
whether
Basically what
somebody's been here years or weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
In this, with the newer people, is to sort of bring them in, begin to talk about it, and they can say, have a chance to discuss their goals and vice versa. And I would think that would be very worthwhile, as well as
Yeah.
Any chance?
Because we're
reading
small.
what has already happened in the short time they might have been here.
And we're a pretty small group, so actually, the accomplishments and the performance of everyone is necessary for the good running of the whole system.
Absolutely.
So every time someone is interacting with a patron or processing or whatever is going on, it's having an effect on the whole entity. So, and Julie and I have discussed the director evaluation after, because we want it to be of the same nature as the employee evaluation. So we want to do the employee evaluation first, and then next month have a discussion of.
And that one's a little more, it's a little more complex because I'm sort of in the middle. I'm an employee of the library board, so the library board will I'll fill out a self-evaluation. The library board will each fill out an evaluation of how each individual feels that I'm doing, but then there's also a mechanism by which you can seek input from the staff. So you're going to have a lot more to look at when you evaluate me, but we're trying to kind of get. So
Because our
it's a little more
interactions-
complicated system.
Are not the only interactions that have to do with the efficient running of a
Yep.
Right.
community
So it'll come
library.
from the top and the bottom.
So,
Well, and if there are issues, it would be staff that would be most likely to notice those first, and we certainly need to be open
Yep.
to hearing if there are issues.
right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's where we stand at the moment. Please review this and let Julie know if you have any questions between now and August, okay? For the board, that's our homework. All right, number 6, the DIA.
DIA, we have Inside Out program. In collaboration with Clarkston Cultural Arts Council, the Detroit Institute of Arts will be bringing another session of their Inside Out program to the Clarkston community. This is an outreach effort in which the DIA installed several reproductions of art around town for the community to enjoy for about 4 months. I believe this is the 3rd or 4th round of the Inside Out that has visited Clarkston. The last time the library had a reproduction of Girl and Laurel by Winslow Homer, mounted on a post along the safety path on the north side of the building. Participating was a very easy process. The DIA covered all the costs to install the piece, then paid to remove the piece at the end, and made all the repairs to restore the property to its original state. Clarkston Cultural Arts and the DIA have invited the library to participate again. This time we would have Booth Sands at Sunset by John Randall Brett. They would like to mount it on the outside wall on the east side of the building, the wall facing the driveway. As last time, the DIA will pay for the installation and all repairs when the piece is removed. In addition, Clarkston Cultural Arts will be featuring local artists, so we would also have the piece Mother Earth by local artist Victor Green on a post in the lawn. They would like to do the installations on July 25th and remove the pieces in November. This is a very popular program in Clarkston. When we participated in 2015, we had to work very hard to secure a piece of art for the library. So it was very exciting to be approached to participate this time. The board was very supportive of this project in 2015, and we had an excellent experience with the program in terms of installation, repair, positive patron and staff feedback, etc. The signed paperwork was due by July 7th, but we were able to tentatively agree to participate in order to hold our pieces until the library board could formally vote. If the board chooses not to participate, Clarkston Cultural Arts would seek an alternative location, but has not done so at this time. And attached is the agreement, same as the last time, and the images of the art pieces we would have. So the thing that's different this time is, last time we had a post with the art on it stuck into the ground, and we will have one of those this time with the local artist. But this time, the piece from the DIA would actually be mounted to the brick wall. They will drill into the wall, and the paperwork shows you exactly what they will do. And when they take it down, they will repair by using the colored mortar to match the bricks. If we choose, we actually could potentially ask that they swap out the bricks, because we actually have attic stock of our own bricks. So we have a lot of attic stock of them still, which we used when we repaired this other wall. So it's a little bit different commitment this time, but
Well, it'll certainly be more visible.
they've been doing this all around town. They've done it on the side of the wood shop and some of those other historic buildings downtown. So we know that they must be doing good repair work, or they would never agree to that. So.
I love participating in this. I think that it's a really wonderful opportunity for us to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And I like actually the side of the building better than along the safety path. I think it will be much more visible.
I think it'll draw people in, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pretty picture.
I think it'll look pretty with the building as well. I think it'll be
I thought that too.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have to take some pictures.
Yes, absolutely. It's
For
not
archives.
huge. I think it's really only, 4 feet by 5 feet, or it's not gigantic. It's not going to take up that whole wall or anything, but I think it'll pop on the bricks.
Well, and
So.
that's probably that size. You wouldn't want to do it on a post. You would want that,
Absolutely.
it'd be much more secure mounted on the building.
I think so,
would
too.
So that will be excellent. I will therefore accept the motion.
I move that we approve the 2017 Inside Out installation agreement and authorize the library director to sign on behalf of the library.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the 2017 BIA inside-outside installation agreement. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, next item, separation.
Okay. As discussed at the June library board meeting, the library director will present a complete plan and recommendation to separate the head of circulation IT manager position into 2 separate full-time positions, which is the more common structure for Class 5 libraries. This was a proposal that was discussed with the library board staffing committee over the past few years as part of a larger staffing reorganization plan for the library. This piece of the plan was intended to be incorporated into the 2018 budget, but the library and its many programs and projects are growing so quickly that the need to divide this position has come sooner than expected. Okay, so there's the pieces that are in your packet, which are the 2016 organizational chart, the 2017 organizational chart, and then you have, there's actually 3 job descriptions. There's the head of circulation, proposed how we would change that, the IT manager, and then also head of technical services, which is basically the cataloging department, the preparation of the materials for the collection. And we only added that because those 3 positions work so closely together that I wanted to include Brad in that conversation as well. And we did make some slight adjustments in terms of he will train in Polaris, our ILS, for the cataloging pieces. The head of circulation would train the circulation pieces. And then we clarified the fact that the IT manager would be responsible for all library hardware and software beyond the ILS. So that's why that extra position is in there. We're not making any other changes. We're just updating that job description to include a slight tweaking of the language. And then you also have, as a separate handout, it was with your library director's report and the statistics.
Justification.
The justification sheet, justification for creating an additional full-time position. So I'm going to show you the organizational charts on the screen. Providing my technology feels like working. But we have IT support right in the room, so we should be okay. Always helpful. Always helpful, yes. Exactly. Make sure I got the right one. Here it is. Okay.
We got it back.
There we go. Okay. So what we have is our current 2016 organizational chart. And you can see we have our full-time head of circulation IT coordinator. And down from that, we have our senior circulation clerk, who has been training and helping to schedule the part-time circulation clerks and the part-time pages. And then the full-time head of circulation IT coordinator also has a part-time IT assistant. So what we are proposing, well, let's talk about the justification first. We are asking to create an additional full-time position. Our library's usage is growing very quickly. Customer service and strong technology services are key to the future of library service. Looking at the DSLRT data, you'll remember Detroit Suburban Library Roundtable data that's done every year. Near the end of the year, that's how we do all of our wages and see how we compare to other Class 5 libraries in the area. Looking at that data, Class 5 libraries usually employ a head of circulation, a head of technical services, and a IT manager, all as full-time positions. Increased workload in both circulation and IT is really ramping up, and we're trying to make sure that there's adequate coverage to get all the work done. We have need for strong focused leadership for projects and collaborations in each department. Very different skill sets are needed to lead these two departments, and an additional full-time employee would ensure our patrons are receiving quality, consistent service at all times the library is open. Now, I don't want anybody to think, absolutely do not think, that our head of circulation IT manager has not been doing a bang-up job, but we are currently working on point of sale, which is circulation. We are looking at issuing library cards to all students in the Clarkston Community School District. That's 8,200 students. We would like to do that by September. We're working on redoing the adult computer lab. We are working on the website. We've got lots and lots of major projects, and it is time to kind of split this and allow for that work to be done by more than one person. I commend him for doing as long as he has, and I think there's a little piece of him that doesn't really want to give it up, but I think he and I have had enough conversations to understand that the job is becoming just too big. Actually, it probably always was, but he just made it look easy. So what we would do, the proposal would be for the head of circulation IT manager position to become two separate full-time positions, a head of circulation and an IT manager, as defined in the job descriptions included in your packet. And then we would adjust the organizational chart. Basically what we would do is the current senior circulation clerk position would be eliminated. We would propose that William Bowman, the current head of circulation IT manager, becomes the new IT manager. And then Annette Cheney, the current senior circulation clerk, would become the new head of circulation. The board steps to complete this process. We would need a motion to approve the updated organizational chart as presented, a motion to approve the updated job descriptions for head of circulation, IT manager, and head of technical services, because we are making a change to that. The motion to approve the following budget adjustments. So what I did in order to fund this, since we're eliminating the senior circulation clerk, the wages that we would have in part-time would be moved to full-time, because we're not going to have that position anymore. So that's $7,350 from $707 part-time wages to $706 full-time wages. She currently works 25 hours a week. She would go up to 40 hours a week and is a full-time salary position. So we would need an additional $9,050 for the rest of the year. I propose taking that from fund balance and putting it into $706 full-time wages. We would also need to add $695 from fund balance to $715 for the FICA taxes, because we're adding to our wages for the year. And then we would need a motion to appoint William Bowman as the full-time IT manager at his current salary, and appoint Annette Cheney as the head of circulation at a salary of $40,000 with a start date of Monday, August 7th, 2017. So just to make sure that everyone kind of understands, this is kind of a process that we started. Essentially what we did in an effort to I guess to see how long we could keep it like this, I don't know. We have a full-time head of circulation IT coordinator from 2016. And what we did when the job started to get too big is we hired a half-time assistant in IT and a half-time assistant in circulation. And then we just, I'll be honest, I kind of waited to see which position he tended to drift toward, to see which one would really make him happy. I'm seeing his passion coming out about the website, about the computer lab, about the maker space and that sort of thing. So, and then at the same time, I'm seeing our senior circulation clerk getting really excited about writing policy. Can't mention that, but she's excited about writing policy, documenting procedures, training the staff, working on the schedule and those kinds of things. So the other day she said to me, she showed up early and I said, "You're here early?" And she said, "I just couldn't wait to come to work." So I just feel like this is the best for the library, for the staff, and it gives everybody an opportunity to shine and to make it a little more manageable for everybody to get the massive amounts of work that we're trying to implement. So.
Well, and certainly, these three positions are all working together all the time anyway. So it's not like, oh, we're in some vacuum here.
Yeah.
We're just getting a little more
Absolutely.
delineation of who's going to work on what aspects.
Well, circulation requires so much detail, and IT requires so much time. And so between the two, it's just gotten to the point where it's just more than one person should really be trying to do. But
Especially since I saw Debbie checking things out, Bill checking things out this afternoon. So obviously, we had several people who were all doing circulation.
it's been a crazy day. Yeah, we've had a really great day. It's been busy.
So if you want her to have a start date of August the 7th, you want us to approve this tonight?
Yes. Are you okay with that?
It looks like we need to make 4 motions.
Yes, I think we should definitely do this one by one.
Okay. Do you have any questions or concerns before we get to that point? Do you feel like I covered everything sufficiently? Okay. I just wanted to make sure you felt like, we talked about it a
Yeah, I
little.
think we had had time to think about it.
The staffing committee had already had this as part, this is just 6 months earlier than what we had originally intended.
And we did talk about it a little bit last month,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's not like this came out of the blue.
I
It
wouldn't
was
do
a
that to
little
you.
faster than I thought based on what we talked
Yeah.
about last month, but,
Well, we're getting a little overwhelmed.
and it meets the concerns that I had last month, it's all explained, and I feel pretty comfortable about it.
Yes.
Okay, well, I can get the
I'll
process
do.
started.
All right, I'll accept a motion on the organizational chart.
I so move.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the updated organizational chart as presented. Any other questions or commentaries about this split? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? Nay? Okay, motion is carried. Now I'll accept a motion on job descriptions.
I move to approve the updated job descriptions for head of circulation, IT manager, and head of technical services, as Julie just presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the updated job description for the head of circulation, the IT manager, and the head of technical services as presented. Any comments or questions about any of those? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone who says nay? Okay, motion is approved. Okay, budget adjustments.
Okay,
Yeah.
I move that we approve the following budget adjustments. $7,350 from 707 part-time wages to 706 full-time wages. Also, $9,050 from fund balance to line 706 full-time wages. Also, $695 from fund budget to line 715 FICA.
For FICA.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we make 3 budget adjustments, as you can see on your sheet. Are there any questions about any of those? Okay, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
And just to clarify, there may still be some budget adjustments needed for some of the benefits, but until we know which insurances and things like that, I didn't want to guesstimate on that.
That's understandable.
So you may see some additional things later in the year.
Okay, we've got time.
Yep, absolutely.
And number 4, appointments.
I move that we appoint William Bowman as the full-time IT manager at his current salary and appoint Annette Cheney as the full-time head of circulation at a salary of $40,000 with a start date of Monday, August 7th, 2017.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. That was Dan who was seconding, okay. Moved and seconded to appoint William Bowman as the full-time IT manager at his current salary, Annette Cheney as the full-time head of circulation at a salary of $40,000 with the start date of Monday, August 7th, 2017. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Congratulations. You're supposed to get a little more rest now, but that might happen.
No, just different projects.
And it was nice, Annette's had some time to settle in to some of these experiences over the last few months anyway, so.
Yeah, I've been holding back on congratulating her. I've wanted to do it, but I think she don't even know yet.
Does she know?
Oh, she knows, yeah, she knows.
Okay.
Yeah, I made sure to
I mean,
get her,
that's not
I made sure to get her approval before I did it.
Yes, you're approving her for position.
Eliminating one
Show
after
By the way, you're working full-time now, I hope you're good with that.
Exactly.
It's always good to run those things by people.
Exactly.
And the final item on the agenda tonight is the update regarding the Sashabaw Road Corridor Improvement Authority. And that is, Julie will make a presentation
I
about
do,
that.
I have a presentation. Earlier this year, Township Supervisor Pat Kittle made the library director aware that the Township Board was considering making changes to the Sashabaw Road Corridor Improvement Authority plan. On July 10th, the letter and document included in the packet arrived at the library. This is the first official notification of these proposed changes. Since the initial conversation with Mr. Kittle, the library director has attended a Township Board meeting in which the proposed changes were reviewed and discussed with the Township Board, and also corresponded with Ann Suring, the library's attorney, regarding this tax capture. So I do have an informational update regarding this situation so that you may determine how you would like to proceed. Okay. Okay, so unfortunately I kind of need to begin at the beginning, but I promise I'll make it brief. So what is the Corridor Improvement Authority? A Corridor Improvement Authority, or a CIA, is a tax increment financing authority, also known as a tax capture. The CIA is designed to assist economic development and redevelopment in established commercial districts. So in this case, it's Sashabaw Road. Other types of TIFAs you may have heard about include downtown development authorities, known as DDAs, brownfield redevelopment authorities, known as BRAs, or neighborhood improvement authorities. We do actually have a brownfield as well. That's the property that's at Dixie and M15 that used to be a gas station. Yeah, that's a brownfield. It's a single property. So we do have more than one tax capture. Okay, so how does it work? Tax increment finance districts capture tax revenues, such as the millages of fire, police, library, etc., from the increased value or increment created by new development. So, what does that mean exactly? It means a municipality establishes a particular district of properties, so this is the area that we're working to redevelop. They set the baseline value of the district that's been documented, and then as the property values increase, they capture a portion of the taxes on just the increase. So just this little piece right here, and just a portion of it from those millages. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to talk about a library example. This is the Howell Carnegie District Library. The City of Howell has a Downtown Development Authority, a DDA. As property values in Howell's DDA district increase, a portion of the tax revenue collected on the properties in the DDA district from millages in Howell are captured to be used for capital improvements in the DDA district. Okay, so let's drill that down a little bit. The Howell District Library has a voted millage to provide library service. As property values in the DDA district increase, a portion of the tax revenue collected on the properties in the district for the library's millage is captured for the purpose of making capital improvements in the DDA district. So we've got all these properties, same little thing, you know, they have the set value. As those increases, they capture a portion of the library's millage. And they use it for things like sewer, landscaping, that kind of thing. The Howell District Library is located within the district of Howell's DDA. They're actually one of the properties. Obviously nothing's captured from them, but they are physically located there. So when the DDA pooled those captured funds and used them to replace the lighting and sidewalks in the DDA district, the sidewalks and lighting in front of the library were replaced as part of the project. So the library directly benefited from the capital improvement project. So it makes sense for the Howell District Library to opt into Howell's DDA. So beautiful historic lighting that they added and all of the sidewalks and everything. That's kind of that's the reason you might opt into something like this, because you can see the benefit from it. Okay, so Sashbaugh Road Corridor Improvement Authority. Let's talk about that. Established in May of 2007, the current duration is through 2021. Completed projects include the improvements to Sashbaugh Road I-75 interchange, so all that construction work they were doing the last few years. The widening of Walden-Sashbaugh intersection, the landscaping along Sashbaugh Road, the through traffic signal at Sashbaugh Flemings Lake intersection there by the Secretary of State's office. And there's one remaining project, which is the widening of Sashbaugh Road between Flemings Lake and DTE. So if you look at the district, this is Sashbaugh Road, this is Clarkston Road, and Mabee Road is down here as well. And these are all of the properties that go along Sashbaugh Road that are included in this district. It's this black outline right here. Should be the color ones. I apologize, that's not a better image. Okay, so why are we talking about this now? At a meeting on June 20th, 2017, the Township Board reviewed and discussed a proposal to extend this tax capture until 2029 in order to fund the remaining project. So the problem is the current CIA does not have enough money to finish the remaining project. By extending that tax capture, their goal is to have enough money to do that. In January of 2017, the TIFA statute changed regarding libraries. So we got a little bit of a perfect storm going on here. According to the library's attorney, Ann Stern, the library may pass a resolution to opt out of the CIA tax capture if 1, the CIA alters or amends the boundary of the development area, or 2, extends the duration of the financing plan. So you definitely have number 2, you kind of have number 1, because they do actually in that plan have a proposal to take a couple of the properties out. You actually have the opportunity at this point to opt in or opt out depending on what you would do. So, why would we opt in? Well, the library has been part of this project since 2007, so we could see it all the way to the end. The township supervisor has asked the library to support the township in this project. The purpose of the CIA is to improve that commercial district in order to raise the property values, ultimately improving the support of community services. So that's sort of the argument, the overall argument for opting in. Okay, why opt out? Well, the library's been part of this project since 2007. The library, what's that? No, that was done when the library was still a township department. The library is not physically located within the corridor district. Town Hall, Fire Station number 2, and safety paths are all located within the district and will potentially directly benefit from CIA projects. School funding has always been exempt from TIFA. The statute was changed in January because libraries are now being recognized in a category more similar to schools in terms of tax capture, and they are now giving library boards the option to opt in or opt out. So schools are automatically exempt, and libraries are now given the option of opting in or opting out depending on the possibilities of benefit. The library's been questioned about why we are giving dedicated voted library funding to a road project across town. So we've had quite a lot of feedback during the millage campaigns, 3 millage campaigns on this. Okay, so how much is being captured from the library? So right here at the top, 2017, $12,946. These are estimates created. This is all part of the CIA development plan that is in your packet. This was created by the township's assessor. They are estimating that over the course of time that these amounts will increase as property values increase. Exactly. So the total capture from 2017 to 2029 is $264,819. Obviously, that's just an estimate. How much is the total capture? So if you include all of the millages that are being captured by this, the total estimated capture from 2017 to 2029 is $3,255,034. So the interesting part when I attended the township board meeting on June 20th to listen to this, obviously the supervisor was talking to the board about how much money was needed to complete this project. And the first question that they asked was, is the 3.2 million enough? And he said yes, he thought that it would absolutely be enough. As a matter of fact, he wasn't entirely sure that they would need all of it. Question number two, because the township board does understand that the library has the potential to opt out, question number two was, if the library opts out, is it going to be a problem? And he even said at that meeting that he thought they would probably still be okay. So that was an interesting response to that question. He hasn't been here to do a presentation. He was going to come earlier in the year, but he has not. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to have some questions answered about that. Okay, so what does the library's attorney say? I guess this is probably the most important piece. The library takes on responsibility for educating the public about this project when this tax capture is included in the library's millage renewal ballot language. So as we've experienced on 3 different occasions, we do a lot of education about this tax capture, and we do take a lot of feedback back about people's commentary on this. I have had more than one patron say to me, I will never vote for a library millage as long as this is attached to your millage. So that is always a concern for me. If the library board chooses to do so, a resolution to opt out must take place within 60 days after the public hearing. The public hearing has not yet been scheduled, but according to a tentative timeline, may be planned for August 22nd, making the 60-day opt-out window August 22nd through November 7th. So that's just to give you a ballpark of when you need to think about this. The attorney, in an email to me, if the library board is not sure, the attorney recommends opting out. The library board can always opt back in the future, but once the 60-day window closes on the opt-out, there is no second opportunity to fully opt out ever again.
That was going to be my question.
Yep, that was the, yep.
So if we would choose to opt out, would that begin immediately, or?
It would begin in the next year. Yeah, it would, well, it would begin starting next year.
So immediately, basically.
Mhm.
Okay.
They've already.
It wouldn't go all the way to 2021 where we had agreed previously. Okay.
No, we would opt out as of. Now, you do have the ability, the attorney mentioned that there are revenue sharing possibilities. You can come up with an agreement in order to do that. The problem with that is because obviously the amount that's being captured is not a huge amount of money. The problem is not the amount of money being captured. The problem is the resentment of the money being captured and the educational process that we have to go through. The people are not entirely in support of it being done at all.
The integrity of what we're asking them for, and then we're
Yep.
But the piece of it, that how we educate people is reminding over and over again that it's not everyone's taxes.
Right.
It's only the taxes on the
On the
properties that are benefiting.
Yep.
So
So hard to get that.
I know that piece of it is, right.
Because it's those tax monies which would come here won't.
Right.
Right.
They're not coming from the tax monies of
Most
of the
Most of the
residents
people
of the
who are
township or the
complaining
city.
about,
Right.
you know, it's not their tax money.
And it's not entirely commercial property either. There are residents that are
Right.
And that
that
was
are being captured. Yep. Because previously we had been thinking that it was almost entirely commercial property. And then when we really look, there are some residential, because the people who are residents, I heard from some of them too. So they made it abundantly clear that they knew that their tax dollars were being captured and they weren't super happy about it. So, but anyway, so what are the next steps? The township has offered a 30-day window prior to the public hearing for the taxing authorities, such as the library, to meet with the township supervisor and/or the township board to discuss the amendment and to address any questions. The 2017 regular board meeting dates include August 14th, September 11th, November 13th, and December 11th, just so that you're aware of kind of where your meetings fall in that timeline. Because opting in or opting out, you need to have that decision made in an official board meeting. And if they do actually hit that public hearing on the 22nd, then you only have till November 7th. Yeah, so your November 13th meeting is too late, so it's going to be August 14th or September 11th, unless you call a special meeting, which you are permitted to do.
You see, we're digesting this.
And that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, August 14th is before the public hearing even potentially takes place, so that doesn't seem like the most likely date that we would be.
September, would have to be
Would have to be the
September 11th.
Well, and we don't know exactly when they will have
Right.
a public hearing, because they, it depends on how smoothly things go. There's a lot of other pieces and parts that they have to get in
Right.
place first, but this is and their timeline is pretty tight. So there's always the possibility that it's going to get pushed back. I mean, as I said, the supervisor and the township planner both wanted to come and present to you back in March, and they didn't come because they were still hammering out a lot of the details. So we're now talking about it in July, so I'm not sure how accurate that timeline is, but they are hopeful, so.
So November might still be a possibility, depending
Potentially.
on when the hearing is.
And like I said, you still have the opportunity to do special meeting depending on how the
We
timeline
don't
would
have
fall.
a meeting in October,
Oh, I missed the October meeting, I'm so sorry.
so that makes it a little more.
We do have an October meeting, I'm so sorry. When I was shifting around I'm sure when I was shifting around the spacing, I must have accidentally deleted that. I remember typing it in there.
October fell off.
October fell off, I apologize. The October, I'm so sorry.
All right.
So we would have, good catch.
I would think
September
that
and
August
October.
is too early. That's what you say.
I would think so. I mean, I think that we should. Right.
The October board meeting is the 16th. October 16th, sorry about that.
So we should have a couple of
Yep, there's a couple meetings in
opportunities.
there. Yep.
Yeah. Because I feel like we should at least hear what's said at the public hearing, whether we attended or whether we see a presentation of it or something. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should like really look at it before we decide.
We have a couple different options. Like I said, they're offering this 30-day window prior to the public hearing for taxing authorities to ask a question. The attorney said that's actually an unusual step, but they are offering it up. So you could appoint a subcommittee to talk to them, you could ask them to come and talk to you, I mean, there's a lot of options of that 30-day window. Or you could wait until the public hearing and listen to what's said at the public hearing. I mean, there's a lot of options about how you want to educate yourself
Actually,
about
find
this.
that 30-day window yet, though, because I haven't actually.
Well, the 30-day window is defined from the date of the letter. So they mailed the letter on July 6th, and the letter
Okay.
specifically says, if it's in your packet, specifically says 30 days. It's the last paragraph of that
That
letter.
is going to be,
You don't
okay.
need
Yeah.
to have to act on it soon.
No. You don't have to, if you want
So,
to. meet
We're
them.
okay
The next
to
week.
bring,
What if we
August
don't want
6th,
to do
then
it?
actually ask them.
we can lose it now.
Well, I suspect that they would extend that time period if you wanted them to. If you said, okay, well, we want to take advantage of this offer
See what we're
to
doing.
talk to you prior to the, I mean, we didn't even get the letter until the 10th, plus,
Thank you.
you
Right.
have to make this, I'm sure that if we called and said, if I called them up and said they want to meet,
Well,
It's a 30-day window.
especially because we could opt out. and Some of the other taxing authorities don't have the ability to opt out.
I think at this point,
We're the
most
only
of them
one.
don't have the ability
Right,
to opt out,
right.
so.
So it does feel like
I
they would be.
think Ann and Allison both had questions. Did you have a question, Ann?
Right,
Did I miss a question from you, Ann?
No, we were just talking about the fact that we had no say in the 2007 opt-in
Oh, right.
because we were a department.
Well, if we were opted in by the governing body of the library at that time, which was the township board. So the township board opted us in. Yes.
A lot of dates are flying around, so what is
Sorry.
the window that we've got to opt
Yeah,
in?
I guess that's what I was.
The window is from the public hearing to 60 days, which at this point, they haven't set the public hearing. So right now, they're estimating, and I'm assuming that they're going to try everything in their power to have that August 22nd date be their public hearing.
So 60 days after
So,
that?
yep, the attorney has stated that if August 22nd is the public hearing as they plan, then you have 60 days, which goes until November 7th. So that's the window, unless they change the public hearing.
And if we vote, the majority votes to opt out, then we're done, and then that's the end of it.
You have to pass a resolution.
And you don't see the public hearing being moved up or ahead?
I don't think so. Well, legally they have to notify us. We would know about it, yeah, we would know if they do. I think that it's a pretty optimistic date already, so I'd be really surprised if they moved it up. They're not going to blindside us, I don't think, so.
So our first question is whether we want to take the step of actually talking, of taking advantage of the 30-day window
Yep.
to ask any questions.
Yes, do you have questions that you would like to inquire about prior to public hearing? Or would you like to hear the presentation prior to the public hearing?
Why do we need to do that?
I actually don't know.
Unless we have questions,
That's what I'm saying.
unless we have questions, and we spent a lot of time discussing this at the last village,
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
so we're pretty cognizant of the issues. So the first question is, do we have questions that we need to ask in the 30-day window of when we received this, which was July 10th?
Yep.
If we have no questions, we can defer our commentary until after the hearing.
And then the question is, and I'll have to ask the attorney about how to address the public hearing. The June 20th meeting, basically, I attended on your behalf and
Thank you.
gathered the
Yes.
information. And part of my assignment was to go and hear what was said and come back, so I've done that. But the next piece is, in terms of the public hearing, you could send a subcommittee, less than a quorum. I'd have to ask, if you all wanted to go to the public hearing, I would have to ask the attorney how to handle that. I believe that would be handled in the same way that we attended as a board. We would have to post it as being a library board special meeting, and you'd actually have a call to order prior to their meeting and then adjourn.
And in actuality, we do a lot of work in subcommittee mode.
I don't see why.
So I don't see there's any reason for the entire board to
Okay.
do this. If we have questions, I believe we should send a subcommittee.
Okay.
Where we find out when the hearing actually is.
I mean, I think before we make a decision to opt in or out, I think that we should have some people attend a public hearing. I mean, we know what library patrons are saying, we kind of have a sense for that, but I would think that it's a big decision, and I think that before we make it, we should.
Right.
We should take that.
We tend to be a data-driven organization, so therefore, this is an opportunity to collect more data. So what we need is a subcommittee, and I don't think anyone should think about this right this moment, but I think we should alert Julie within the next week or two if you're willing to serve on the subcommittee.
The primary role of which would be to attend the public hearing
Right,
and report
which would
back.
be-
Right.
and
I'm just trying to give
gather
a sense
more
of what the
information.
document is.
Yeah, the only.
To present to the board.
And I already have the public hearing marked off on my calendar, so I'll be there either way, so I will definitely be gathering information for you as well, so.
Okay.
As soon as
So
it
if we,
decides the date.
so board members, consider this. Let Julie know if you're willing to serve as the subcommittee to gather more data before we make a decision.
Would you like me to respond to the township's letter and let them know that while you appreciate the offer of the 30 days, that you will be attending, you'll send a subcommittee of people to the public hearing to find out more about, is that what we're thinking, or am I hearing that somebody would like to talk
I
to the
think that's what we're
township board
thinking,
about?
isn't it?
I think that's it.
Okay, okay.
I don't, it's not like it's a mystery to us what this is all about. We do because throughout the village process, we certainly educated ourselves so that we could help educate other people. I think we all get it.
And great work is being done over there. I mean, the project is, the entrance ramps are really nice, and they've done a lot of really great work over there, so.
Right, even whether we opt in or out is not a criticism necessarily of the project. It's only whether or not it's
Whether
appropriate.
It's appropriate to the use of the funds.
You just have to always do what's best for the library.
And that's what you said.
That's our job. I said, I think we always want to do what's best for the library.
That's our job, absolutely.
Right.
Which is why I gave the Howell example. I thought it was really important because it's not uncommon when the statute, especially when the statute changed, for people to look at these tax captures and say, well, they're all bad, and that's absolutely not the case. And it's not to say that anything negative about this particular tax capture, just as you said, it's the appropriateness Not make that decision.
Where it's clearer that it's appropriate if there's a direct benefit in terms of infrastructure
Howell
improvements.
Howell is a perfect example. They would be, I think it would not be in their best interest. It makes perfect sense for them to be a part of it because that money is going, it's a pooling of funds for the betterment of the entire
There's
district.
the lighting for the patrons.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely.
This is a little bit harder.
Right.
This one's a little bit stickier.
Okay, so are we agreed that we will consider this, we will send a subcommittee to the hearing, to gather more data? And we have options, it's not an all or nothing situation.
Right, it's kind of a nice position to be in for a change.
Yes, we get a choice. There is a choice there. Sometimes there aren't choices.
All right, well, thank you for the update, because this is not an easy topic to
It's not.
discuss or explain, as we know,
Yes, we know.
having had to do this. Yes.
Yes.
At this time, then, I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We were waiting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? All right, we are adjourned at
We always have a hard time adjourning.
7:22. Thank you.